Well, hello friends, and welcome to this presentation on how to pass the Level 2 exam for 2021. My name is Dr. BJ Tolia. I am the Level 2 professor at Kaplan Schweser, and in this journey we'll basically talk about the difficult task of preparing and passing the Level 2 exam. Recognize that yes, it is a difficult path. It is requires a lot of hard work, but it is also important to work smartly so as to achieve a desired outcome. All right, let's get started and talk about what we are going to cover in this presentation. So we are going to first cover the level 2 curriculum, just give you an overview of what the level 2 curriculum is. Then we'll talk about the exam format and how it differs from level 1 that you are already familiar with. We'll give you some bad news about historical pass rates that for level 2 based on the past exams. We'll then get into how to efficiently prepare. But before we get into how to efficiently prepare, we're going to talk about the learning myths. What are the things that people think are effective learning mechanisms, but that is not true. And then finally, we'll get into how we can help you in your journey, in your preparation for this level 2 exam. All right, let's get started. Let's look at the curriculum itself. There are 17 study sessions in CFA level 2 curriculum. And as you can see, the biggest topic areas are financial statement analysis and equity investments. And there are more than 50 readings in level 2 curriculum, so there is a lot of material to cover. And not only are the readings significantly high quantity, but also the depth of the material covered at level 2 is pretty high. Now, the exam weights for these topic areas is variable. So, for example, ethics and professional standard, the exam weight can be somewhere between 10 and 15%. At a minimum, it is 10. At a maximum, it is 15%. And across the board, you will see that variability in topic weights that allows the curriculum writers to change the importance of any topic area for any given sitting. Always the key is the two main topic areas historically for level 2 has been financial reporting and analysis and equity valuation. Keep in mind, level 2 is also known as the valuation level. And the valuation level meaning we go into asset classes like equity, fixed income, derivatives, alternative investments, and value them. So that is really the focus. The tools that we learned in level 1, quantitative methods, financial reporting and analysis, economics, are taking on a lot smaller weight at level 2. Now, the exam format for level 2 is going to be a short story or vignette followed by either 4 or 6 questions. For the June 2021 exam, the expectation is that approximately 2/3 of the question will be 4 questions, and about 1/3 of the questions will be 6 question item sets. It doesn't really matter as far whether it is a 4 question item set or a 6 question item set. It's still each of those questions have 3 multiple choice answers. So there's going to be 1 correct answer and 2 distractors. And in the morning, you will see 60 questions. In the afternoon, you'll see 60 questions. Now, each question is worth 3 minutes, and therefore, the morning and the afternoon is 180 minutes or 3 hours each. Now, you get a break in between, just like you saw at level 1. Now, as you can see, the pass rates for level 2, keep in mind, these are successful level 1 candidates who are appearing for level 2 exam. So pre-screened pool is further narrowed down in level 2, and the pass rates are somewhere in the low 40s historically. So not necessarily meant to discourage you. Remember, more than 20,000 candidates pass this exam every year, and there is no reason why you cannot be one of them. As long as you apply the correct techniques and learn the material inside out as expected, that the exam writers will not be able to surprise you based on if you are well prepared. So what are the 5 differences as compared to level 1? The first difference, or in reverse, we're going to go to difference number 5, and the variable topic weightings. And we already saw it. Level 1, the weightings were all fixed, standard, and versus in level 2, the weightings are now going to be fluctuating from cycle to cycle, from exam cycle to exam cycle. The next one, difference number 4, is the item set format. As we already went through, we are grouping questions in 4 or 6, in bunches of 4 or 6, and they're all based on the same topic area, and they are based on an underlying story or vignette or case. Difference number 3, more integration of different topics. And again, the whole purpose of this is, remember, to make you a good analyst as far as valuation skills are concerned. So you're going to bring in all these other things you're learning together to become a good analyst. Difference number 2, there is a higher expectation of analytical skills. So this differs from simple rote memorization, and that is a key difference. So you're just not going to just memorize formulas and expect to pass this exam. You need to understand in what context, what formula needs to apply, what are the pros and cons of different models. So just rote memorization and plugging and chugging is not what level 2 is about. So that is going to be, again, an expectation that is for you at level 2. And when you do practice questions, you'll quickly understand what is the kind of question you should expect on the actual exam. So the biggest difference is way more material, more content. So you have a higher depth of understanding of different areas, as well as more pages, just enormous volume of data or information that you are supposed to master. In fact, as compared to many other certification exams, one main reason why CFA curriculum is considered to be one of the rather more difficult areas of certification is because you are basically exposing everybody to 10 topic areas and expecting them to have a memory dump on one day, on a single day, on all these topic areas. So it makes it a little extra challenging. So given that it is a challenge, how do you efficiently prepare? Well, first of all, let's talk about a rigorous, well-planned study effort. And that a rigorous, well-planned planning is a key that requires you to dedicate good 300 plus hours of your time. Good hours, not just spending time in front of a book or a computer monitor. So good, high-quality study time is needed. Now, starting late in the season to try to prepare for this exam and not devoting enough time is a recipe for failure. It is no shortcut, meaning you need to put in the hours and really master the underlying curriculum. Now, one of the big things to do to see within the huge volume of data presented to you, what are the chunks of wisdom, the pearls of wisdom that you need to really take away from that curriculum. And that requires us to focus on the learning outcome statement as specified by CFA Institute. Every exam question will be tagged to one or more learning outcome statements. So as long as you understand what is the expectations that they are setting up for you. So learning outcome statement is the specification of expectations that the CFA Institute is putting up. And once you focus on that, then you know what is expected of you, and you need to know whether you're satisfying those expectations in your journey of preparing. Now, when it comes to learning and test taking in general, and not limited to CFA exam, what works and what really doesn't work? So let's first get into learning myths. First thing is, we routinely use this practice of underlining or highlighting text. Does it really help in learning and retaining knowledge? Well, it is known as low utility. This is based on studies done pedagogically in learning science. Again, in general, not specifically limited to CFA curriculum, it's in general for any learning. Underlining and highlighting are considered to be low utility. Memory is not a muscle. Rote memorization is not going to help you, especially for this exam. So does it help to have a specific study space that is organized and quiet? Maybe that is the key to your success. Not really. In fact, studying in varying condition reduces the monotony and reduces the diminishing marginal utility. Remember, at level 1 economics, you learned about diminishing marginal returns or marginal utility. Well, same thing here. The diminishing marginal benefit of putting in additional hours of learning kicks in. So when you give yourself a little variety, that decay in a marginal benefit is not as severe or not as steep. Now, what are the moderately effective methods of learning? Elaborative interrogation, asking yourself. So rather than just reading it and then sometimes zoning out of what you're reading, ask yourself, why does this concept make sense? Remember, you are in this business or you are taking this exam because you like to be in this field. You like to be an analyst. So always when you're learning, enjoy the process, the journey of learning. So asking yourself question, why does this model make sense? Why does a specific way of calculating a stock price or stock value make sense? Under what scenarios will this model not really work very well? Self-explanation, explaining to yourself, going through step by step about what you just learned. These are key mechanisms by which you will essentially reinforce your learning. You are associating new techniques, new materials to your prior knowledge. So you're basically connecting your neurons, and reinforcement meaning you're strengthening those linkages. Another good way of learning is known as interviewed learning. We already talked about it. Variety is the spice of life. You don't want to have that steep drop off in marginal benefit of hours spent on learning. So rather than just doing 100 questions on ethics in one sitting of 4 hours, you want to spread it out. Give variety to your learning, their way your shrinkage or reduction in marginal benefit is lowered. Not only that, retention is improved as you give yourself that variety, the interleaved learning. Highly effective methods. Don't cram. So what we call as distributed practice, starting early and dividing your study time in regular chunks of time, that is key. Spreading it over time. So it's kind of like practicing or preparing for running a marathon. You don't just do it 2 weeks prior to the actual event. You practice, you build it up over time. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Always start early and dedicate periodic chunks so that you are not trying to cram everything and expect to pass. The second and key, very, very critical, is the test effect. Now, studies have shown, and completely unrelated to CFA, studies have shown, like for example, if you're taking a quiz on general knowledge, what is the capital of Belarus or whatever, and you do that, let's say you do a 20 question quiz, and then you go and review the results. What you find is you did some of them correctly, you made mistakes in some of other ones. Now, let's suppose that out of 20 question quiz, you did 10 correct and 10 wrong. And out of the 10 correct, 3 were actually guesses, meaning you didn't know the correct answer, you just guessed it, and you guessed correctly. Now, if I were to repeat that quiz, the ones that you got incorrect and went back and checked, more likely than not, the probability of you reversing it, meaning the probability of again getting those 10 wrong, is going to be significantly lower. You may get not all 10 of them correct next time, but you may get 7 or 8 out of those 10 correct the next time. But the 3 that you correctly guessed on, you will fail. Why? Because when you guess on something and you don't realize that you made a mistake, even though you went and checked and looked at the answers, your brain has not given a specific quote-unquote stick approach or punishment approach to memorizing or remembering that attribute or that question. So very important to do test taking, quizzing yourself. It assesses your understanding of the material, but not only that, it gives you strong retention of what you have already learned. So with Kaplan, one of the things we do is we have an LMS, Learning Management System, which provides you with bite-sized learning. We use the term modules. So every reading is broken up into several modules, and each module is what we call as a bite-sized learning. You can learn on one go, one sitting. After you complete that bite-sized learning, you are presented with several related questions on that module, and thereby you are immediately taking the quizzing effect, the retention component. And then you progress through, you get through the reading, and then you have another quiz on the entire reading. You wrap up several readings and you finish a study session, you have another quizzing. So quizzing is built into the path, the journey in the learning management system in the Kaplan framework. So it allows for first plan. It allows you to plan your calendar, and it's very flexible. You specify what days are you available, how many hours you are available, and how many hours you want to put over the weekend, and so forth. So you are basically setting up a roadmap for you to succeed. Or everything is online, everything is customized for you. Now, starting with our flagship product, the Schweser Notes. Very clearly designed to recognize that you have a limited amount of time and you want to optimize the use of that time. So the notes are concise. It's about 25% of the original curriculum in terms of content, in terms of volume. So obviously I don't go by pages, because if you look at the font size and the size of the pages, Schweser Notes are more spread out and not as condensed in terms of volume of content per page. Nonetheless, it is, as I said, about 20-25% of the original curriculum. They are concise. Not only that, everything is written clearly, so we stay away from academic jargon, not to impress you. We want you to learn. That is completely the intent. And it is comprehensive. Every single LOS is covered. So we cover every single LOS, and it is covered by LOS. So we are basically taking the content and matching up with LOSs, because that is exactly what you need to know. And again, within the notes, you have end of module questions, as I already talked about, topic quizzes or topic assessment, and at the end of every book, you have a formula sheet to kind of have a recap of what you covered. And again, formulas, there is no getting away from. There are lots of formulas, just like you had in level 1 to memorize. Now, the quiz effect, we have the SchweserPro question bank, and there are 3,000 plus level 2 questions. Several of them are in item set format, and several of them are in standalone format. Remember, the Q bank is designed very, very specifically as a retention tool. It is not mimicking an exam. So oftentimes candidates will say, you know what, I want to I want to narrow it down only to the toughest questions. And the idea behind that logic is that, well, if I can, lift 200 pounds, then I don't need to verify that I can do 50-pound or whatever else, the less onerous task, if you will. Well, that analogy does not apply to CFA learning. Just because you are able to do more difficult question does not necessarily mean you are okay with all the easy question, because the content is going to be different. The LOS coverage will be different. And in the learning phase, the key objective is to retain the material. So when you're going through standalone questions in the Q bank, the focus there is to reinforce what you are learning and keep it in your strong memory, so that it is available for you to pull from when you get to actual practice exams, and then obviously to the real exam day. Each of these questions are tagged, are linked to LOS that they are being tested from, their curriculum reference page as well as Schweser notes page, and there is a hyperlink to that relevant section in the notes should you need to go back and say, you know what, I don't really understand it. I want to go to that module in the in the notes and refresh my memory. And so it is instant correction, instant remediation of whatever you are not getting correct, and thereby not keeping that window of self-correction open, not postponing that self-correction. Towards the end of the study cycle, and again everything is categorized in the LMS in your study plan, but towards the end of your study plan you should be taking practice exams. Now we have 2 volumes of practice exams, each volume with 2 practice exams each. When I say 2 practice exam, meaning 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. So each volume basically has 240 total questions, 2 full-length exams. Now these exams are designed to mimic the real exams, so they are basically designed with exam-like difficulty. Key is inclusion of a performance tracker. What we do is basically we have you input your answers on our LMS, and once you input those answers on our LMS, you will basically be benchmarked against other candidates at the same point in time. So you will find out where you stand vis-a-vis your competition, and that is a key takeaway. So yeah, you know, there may be one exam that you don't do as well, and you are concerned that, hey, I'm not going to pass. Well, when you look at everybody else, if they are not doing as well on that exam, then you can find some solace, if you will, in recognizing that exam is a little more difficult in general and therefore would be curved. It also allows you to narrow down the topic areas that require remediation, requires you to fill in those gaps in learning. The packages that we have designed is the first one, the bare bones basics, what we call a self-study, no instructional component, and that is known as the essential package. So the essential self-study package assumes that you don't need instructional support. You're a self-learner. You can take the content and consume it at your speed. So it includes the notes, the practice exams, the Q bank, and a quick sheet. Quick sheet is basically a really trifold formula sheet. Now, if you like instruction package, and again, we are not sure about 2021 exam because of limitations on our ability to offer live in-person classes, but these are centers we generally offer live classrooms, so Chicago, Boston, New York, Toronto, so forth. Again, for 2021, it's still up in the open whether we will be allowed to offer in-person classes, but we will have live online classes, and these are, well, we are not going to have early start, but we will have Eastern time, meaning New York time, London time, or Asia time class. And these are 15 weeks, 3 hours per week, just like a college course. All these instructional packages include video lectures. So video lectures are basically videos that correspond to the modules in your Schweser notes. As you learn through the notes, what happens is you may find something to be a little confusing. You have an access to a video on your LMS to watch over that module. For those modules where you're comfortable, it makes perfect sense to you, they are easy to follow, well, in that case, you can skip the video lecture. I mean, you can watch it if you want to, but if you are trying to optimize the time, you can skip that video lecture if you are finding you're comfortable with that module. When you come to the live class, we are assuming that you have taken those, you have gone through those relevant readings, and then we will basically do a refresher as well as a lot of practice questions in our live class as well. So that the essential, again, is a self-study package. Then you have the instruction package. We call the first one as the premium instruction package, which includes the essential. On top of it, there is instruction component. And in the instruction component, we have the live in-person classes, live online or in-person. Again, the in-person depends on whether we can offer it in the cities that we normally offer. Again, it includes the video lectures as well as an ability to reach out to an instructor and ask an instructor. The Premium Plus package includes a additional elements. So the Premium Plus is one step above, and it includes the secret sauce as well as a late season review. Now there are two kinds of late season review options. One is a 3-day review, or one is a 5-day review. And in fact, there is a one major review, 7-day review wins a week, which we are actually not going to be offering in 2021, again because of the situation with limitations of getting people in one venue, in one location. So we don't know when Canada is going to open up their borders. Windsor Week is in Canada, in Windsor, Canada. So that is not scheduled for 2021 exam season. All right, late season review. We have a 3-day or a 5-day workshop offered online for sure, but I believe we are going to offer it in New York in person, depending on how things are at that point in time. But again, that occurs late in the season, so a couple of months prior to the exam. In addition to that, the online workshops, we also have two mock exams, and these are typically offered through our society partners. And again, we don't know how many societies are going to actually have physical administration of these mock exam, but we also have online versions that you can take. So that two mock exams are in addition to the practice exam volume 1, in addition to the PEs volume 1 and volume 2. Now each of these mock exams are bundled, includes video tutorials on every single question. So more practice, more simulation of exam conditions to get you ready to tackle the real thing. So to summarize, what are the steps in the preparation process? Number 1, start early. Number 2, read the Schweser notes for a study session. Number 3, supplement the notes with videos as needed. These are the module videos we talked about. Number 4, do questions at the end of every module so as to have that test taking effect. Retention is supported, retention is higher when you do that. Then at the end of every study session, do the questions from the Q bank, generate quizzes, customize quizzes for you. Read the next study session. Again, when I'm talking about customized quizzes, before we continue, customized quizzes can be generated based on questions you got wrong. So you can come back in, let's say you took a quiz on quantitative methods in January. You can come back in March and revisit the questions you got wrong and see if your memory serves you right. Do a topic assessment at the end of each topic. All of this is again bundle. We also have periodic after decent chunk of content is covered. We have what we call as checkpoint exams, which are exam-like questions covering multiple topic areas, but it is not comprehensive because it is not covering every single topic. So the first checkpoint exam covers quantitative methods, economics, financial reporting and analysis, and corporate finance. So you have you have a decent exposure to what to expect as you progress, rather than put everything at the very end. We are constantly throwing practice questions at you. Now, number 8, attend a late season review workshop. Review workshop 3-day or 5-day, bringing it all together, doing practice questions, strategies of exam taking. All of that is in your late season review that we talked about. Take the practice exam. Remember, practice exams are your assessment. It gives you feedback. What are the gaps? What are the plugs to what are the loop weakness areas, the holes to plug? Use the performance tracker. And after you have fixed those problem areas, take another practice exam, and you may find new problem areas to attend to fix. Take the live mock exam that we offer. And the last one is review the ethics material one last time prior to the exam. Remember, ethics is, no matter what you say, it requires a lot of memorization, and therefore the closer you do it towards the exam, the better it is for keeping track of all the little nuances that you need to be on top of. And so that is all I want to include in this presentation. What do CFA Charterholders say? Use Schweser, you'll be glad you did. And again, I am obviously going to be biased on in this in terms of saying Kaplan serves their customers very well. But what I want you to do is to find out for yourself, meaning either look at the sample products that we offer on our website or talk to other candidates who have successfully passed the level 2 exam and see what they recommend, what they take away from our product offering if they have used Kaplan, for example. All right, well, regardless of where your journey goes through, what provider you use, I still want to wish you all the very best and put in your best foot forward and give it a one and done shot at level 2. Good luck.